Welcome back to the Arise interview, where we speak to the newsmakers as well as ordinary people doing extraordinary things around the world and featuring the voices at the heart of the conversations. I'm Sumner Sambo, and we now move on to the issues of presidential aspirants in the People's Democratic Party. Well, one presidential hopeful is Sam Ohuabunwa, who says he is in the race for Nigeria's presidency to fix the nation. Ohuabunwa says after almost 8 years of the current administration of the All Progressives Congress, Nigeria now languishes in the throes of chronic retrogression and decay in all indices of nationhood. He says mass poverty has become the order of the day in Nigeria, as millions of Nigerians lack jobs and opportunities to earn a decent living, attaining self-actualization of potentials and dreams. He says he's in the race to fix the country. Ohuabunwa also says any plot by some powers that be to deny Indigbo, or that's the Southeast presidency, will not come to fruition. He says the insinuations that Igbo presidential aspirants were fizzling out of the presidential race were unfounded, adding that he will become the nation's president come 2023. And also some news just coming in that former presidential spokesman to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Dr. Doyin Okukpe, has withdrawn from the 2023 presidential race. Okukpe says he will now support the candidacy of former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, while asking all southern candidates to also do the same. Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined by the man himself, a technocrat, a patriot, as he likes to call himself, Mazi Sam Ohuabunwa, who is a presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party and a former president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. So good to have you, Ohuabunwa.
Thank you.
Now, Sam Ohuabunwa, let's talk about Nigeria. I mean, I see you clothed in green, white, green. You're trying to create a new change. You're saying that you still believe in a new Nigeria, irrespective of all the challenges that we're having. I mean, let's start with all the security challenges that we're having at the moment. It's such a sad moment. Since Monday, we've sort of been like in a state of mourning across the country because of the attack on the railways and then the killings here and there. What do you make of all of this, and what's the quickest solution you can offer to those in government before you take over, based on what you said?
No, I think that is very, very painful. I am appalled, and many Nigerians are unhappy, because the first responsibility for government is the welfare and the well-being of the people, and primary safety and security. It is clear that government has failed Nigerians. And I wish I was president. I would first thing is to ask him to apologize to Nigerians. You know, there's no sophistry about this.
Well, he did on the first situation. He apologized to Nigerians.
Let him apologize on this, your continuing loss of life. Fuel is not even a serious matter. People's life. How much is the cost of one life? And whose life is that to be? Somebody's father or son or brother or sister. So I think this government ought to be humble. It's clear that they're overwhelmed. I mean, I'm not saying they're not trying, but life is such that you can kill yourself, yet you're able to solve a situation. So they should show humility first and foremost. That's the way they at least get a little bit of our empathy. Secondly, is if, I mean, I keep saying if I were, but the point is that I cannot be the president of a country where government has lost its major responsibility. Everything else resides on the safety, security of lives and property, for economic output, for interaction, traveling, and living a fulfilling life. The level of anxiety. I mean, if you want to go to Kaduna now, which way are you going to go to? By road, by rail, or by air? They've threatened all. If there was sea, you probably won't. So I think the next thing is for government to, I had a press conference say, when things overwhelm people, what they do is to call for help. And the way to start to call for help is to call your people. I suggest to this government that they should call a conference of Nigerians, the stakeholders, and sit down and look at ourselves eyeball to eyeball.
Haven't we had so many of those conferences with nothing coming out?
No.
The last one was in 2014.
Yeah, but that was
at the tail end of the Jonathan administration, and nothing almost came out of it.
Yeah, but that's if that means the people are not serious. And I'm not calling for a constitutional conference, a constituent conference, or political conference.
Like a town hall.
This is a town hall, and say, bring all the people and say, brothers and sisters, this is not where our country used to be. How did we get here? What has gone wrong with us? You'll be surprised that at that kind of dialogue, people will begin to express their opinions, and you might find something or the other that will lead to, as they say, armed robber not be spirit. All these bandits, they come from somewhere. They have leaders. They have traditional rulers. They have religious leaders. They have community leaders,
including their own parents.
Yeah, who hear them, but we are not hearing them. We're not listening to them, and we think that the only way is to buy more guns, buy more machine guns, and they are just messing us up every day and killing people. That's the first advice. You're asking for advice for government. They should call a conference, a town hall, and say the leaders of this country. We know the leaders of this country today from communities. Ethnic leaders or religious leaders or political leaders come together. Students, why have we gotten here? And then secondly, try to increase use of technology in intelligence gathering. Because, there's no way in this country I can't put a probe to hear what people are saying or put a satellite to see them. So I don't know why we can't see who is doing what in this country, man them, even to cover the rail line alone. How many kilometers between Abuja? We could use satellite to cover the rail line, and we'll have avoided a second attack. I don't understand it.
Okay, very interesting submission. We just hope the government is listening and they're borrowing some of the ideas from you who is in the opposition party. Now, you've just picked your ticket, your form, so to say, your nomination form to contest for the ticket of the People's Democratic Party. What makes you so hopeful that in the midst of Atiku, Peter Obi, and all these other people that you will emerge as winner of that ticket?
My hope is that I'm competent, I am experienced, I have good character, I am visionary, I'm enlightened, I'm courageous, and these are the kind of things you need to try and resolve the Nigerian problem. The Nigerian conundrum has been long-lasting. Our inability to emerge as a developed nation, as an emerging nation, to move away from the economic stagnation of a third world, what we've been 61 years ago, with declining economic performance, with increasing poverty, increasing joblessness, and dislocated security architecture. Brother, I have waited for some people to solve the problem, and they have failed. I'm putting myself that I can solve it.
Yeah, but so some of your party members may say that you're less of a politician and more of a technocrat, so it may be difficult for them to want to hand the party's ticket to you because of fear of not winning. What would you do if you're given the PDP ticket to upstage the APC?
You see, the thing is that in the 2022 election, go and write it down, it will not be won by the amount of money you have spent. 2023, it will not be the amount of money you spend. It will be won by Nigerians are tired of these people you are talking about. They are tired of seeing the same people. They know their track record. So what they are looking for are new people with new ideas. They are looking for people with vision, people with competence, people that have a pedigree, people you can say they have good records and good character. The Nigerians want somebody that can lead them to a new nation. So it's not a matter of because people are technocrats and others are professional politicians. What we're looking for is how to solve Nigeria's problem. And Nigeria's greatest problem now can be solved by technocrats. Do I tell you why? First is that the primary thing is Nigeria is suffering from is poverty. And poverty is what we do from where we come from, dealing with poverty, creating prosperity, inviting investment, creating investment-friendly opportunities, creating jobs, creating businesses create jobs create wealth, creates drives away poverty. So that's what you can get. You need somebody who knows how to plan, and also who has accountability, because that's what private sector teaches us, to be accountable, to be able to plan, and then follow up on the outcomes of our planning. You can't be running a system. In the private sector, you have a vision, you determine where you're going either annually, every quarter you look at the KPI, if you're not meeting your KPI, if you're a general manager or an executive director, after a while we'll locate you or change you. Here, people are in office for 6 years, 7 years, you can't exactly see how well they are doing, even in the categories.
And at the end of the day, some of them may be re-elected.
Look at what is happening in our petrol sector. People import foul fuel, adulterated fuel, and from beginning to person, nobody suffers a consequence. Only we citizens are suffering the consequences of ruining our engines. We're suffering the consequences of paying more money for diesel, paying more money for PMS, paying more money for kerosene, paying more money for flight.
So you are accusing the government of paying lip service?
Yeah, it is.
President Buhari didn't discipline anyone on the issue of the corrupted.
I can never say you can run a performing government when people fail in their duty. Somebody came and looked at us and said there was no way he could have known that imported fuel was adulterated. And I said, "Is a person? How can he say such a thing?" I'm a pharmacist. I'm a chemist. If you are looking at any product, the first you should look at the physical characteristics. Even before you go to the internal, where you're going to do chemistry. That methanol, you have no test of methanol. Should clap for you. But even then, look at the physical. If you saw this thing on a bottle, you see it was brownish. It was of color. If I give you water, the first criteria is colorless. If there's some color, you don't even need to check whether it's hydrogen and oxygen. When you do catalysis, you know that it is not water. Until we begin to bring that discipline, where if you do not perform, you pay the penalty. And we'll take you and put somebody who performs. This country will not make progress. The world that we are competing with is moving, and that they're adopting this global competitiveness. Performance metrics. That's why we go to international place. We see our human development indices were low, life expectancy were low, life expectation were low. Everything, even quality of life, were low. Energy consumption, very and nobody is doing anything. So we are bringing solution. We're not saying there's a man facing.
And that solution actually starts from the party.
Yeah.
That's where the major hurdle lies, because there are two processes before you emerge as president. You have to be chosen by your political party, and then you have to stand in the general election and be voted by the people.
Yes.
Now, how much of PDP members are you reaching out to? Because the normal talk among politicians is the issue of structure. Do you have the structure that will deliver you as the PDP presidential candidate?
I've been in PDP for a very long time, almost from the onset. You know, when you see a football team playing, you see the 11 people. Are they the only people in the team? There are people working hard to make sure that they're working. I have related. So
you were on the bench.
I've been on the bench, or even in the coaching crew, supplying strategy. I mean, as chairman of Nigeria Economic Summit Group, I interacted with all governments from Buhari, from Jonathan, to even from Obasanjo. I'd been in Economic Summit, and we had summits. We tried to advocate. As chairman of MAN, I've interacted from periods when even the military were in government. As president of NECA. So we've been doing work advocacy. We understand how government runs. We have built relationships across the country. In the party, I also have relationships. I may not have done competitive politics, but everybody can do competitive politics at the same time. There is a time for each person.
And that's what some politicians will actually say they have against people like you.
Yeah.
That you're too sound, you're too educated, you're too technocratic for them. They don't think that they'll be able to bend you if they give you the party ticket and you become a president.
Unfortunately,
what will you say to such critics?
Unfortunately, it's not about bending me. I'm coming to enthrone a country that will be prosperous, and that prosperity will be cross-cutting. I'm coming to enthrone a country that will be corruption-free, and that will help everybody, because we can save more money and use it to develop our country. I'm coming to create a country where there is justice, equity, and fair play. And I do not know whether politician or non-politician who doesn't like to be treated fairly, who wants to be able to live in a country and feel that that country belongs to him. We're coming to deal with security, insecurity that we have. Whether you are a politician or non-politician, old or young, you need a secure nation. And we understand how a nation can be secure. We understand how to deal with people and make everybody live in a nation they are happy to belong to, where there is equity, justice, and fair play. We are essentially going to run on the economy, because that is what is important. A country with 71% poverty level, 53% unemployment for the youth, that country is in crisis. Look at insecurity. So it has nothing to do with I've been in politics for 500 years. It's so sad that sometimes for 500 years.
Politicians don't actually look at this.
No, but it is not only the work of politicians.
Yeah, and that members too, because people are going to be elected as delegates to actually deliver the presidential candidate of the party. Let's talk about the calls for a Southeast presidency. You said you met with former President Olusegun Obasanjo. What exactly did he tell you about an Igbo presidency in the future?
I've met with many of the leaders in the country, and they have shown empathy. Many have shown empathy. Many agree that Nigeria ought to rotate power at this stage of our development for inclusiveness, for equity, for justice and fair play. Many of them have empathy to that cause, okay? Even if they may not want to express it openly, but they do show empathy. What they have always said is that, people have said is that we will welcome rotation of power, but we haven't seen the candidates. Because the kind of candidates they were seeing didn't represent what they thought was the best. And so when God has steered us and we're there, many of them are beginning to say, well, if you are the kind of guys, I mean, some told me, I've heard your comments, I've heard your writing on the economy, and I've been looking forward to meeting with you. I am happy because you have very good thoughts about the economy. Among these leaders of the country. Then the rest of the world, the youth are looking for somebody who understands how to help them out. They would like to hold power.
And but you think you're that person?
If the power is, yes, because I am, part of my reason for coming to office is to change. I enjoyed my youth as a young person. I want my children and grandchildren to enjoy youth. But today, you can see there doesn't seem to be any plan for the youth and their future. Okay. They have no work. But what we are bringing is to be sure that we create a place where there will be every child who wants to go to school, go to school. If you don't get scholarship, you get bursary. If you don't get bursary, you get community scholarship. You get student loan.
Okay.
And when you from school, you come out and you get work.
I have to come in here because I'm being told that my time is going. Let's talk about the issue of consensus. We've seen northern candidates, northern presidential aspirants, so to say, like Bukola Saraki, Tambuwal, and Bala Mohammed, saying that they want to present someone, a unified figure from the north, as the PDP front runner for the ticket. Are you thinking of something similar yourself? Peter Obi, who just declared his aspirations, Anyim Pius, Anyim and all of that, and maybe other southern aspirants. Are you people thinking of something like that to give the South a stronger voice, or even the Southeast a stronger voice?
People keep talking about that, and I keep saying it's only when the rain has stopped falling that you can say today's rain is the biggest or the heaviest. So we were waiting for, let people, some people are waiting to get permission from Saudi Arabia, some waiting from Jerusalem, some waiting to get permission from East Africa. So, and you know, they had different motivations. I came out since January last year to announce my candidacy because I am prepared, I am motivated, I have a vision to take Nigeria to become a globally competitive country, a first world nation that will work for all. That's my vision. And I've shared this vision around Nigeria. First, I've been to 36 states of Nigeria the first time. On my second run now, meeting with the PDP leaders. Everybody agrees with the vision. Everybody tells you they are tired of what is going on. So, should we have a consensus? Of course, that will emerge. It will not be forced. It's not the kind of thing we saw happening like Saturday. That's not democracy for crying loud. I don't understand how people will be looking at us in the face and forcing people to surrender. I mean, what kind of thing is that? And they call it democracy. What are they teaching people? It is corrupt practice. Well, people, if you want people to, let them go and vote and choose if they want to, that's something they should do off camera. Some people couldn't even be held back. They had to come out and say, we're not stepping down. Is it not a shame? I think we should practice democracy. Democracy is that, you go to the United States, they start with 100 or 50 in primaries. Let's do the US primary. As they are running, people are dropping. As they are running, then you see somebody who emerge, who is the real required person. Because the person we are trying to choose is not for the party. We are choosing someone who is going to lead Nigeria. Lead and Nigerians must be part of it.
Very quickly, in 30 seconds, if you don't get this ticket, will you still be a member of the People's Democratic Party?
Well, I've been a member all since PDP came, and I intend to stay in PDP and work with like-minded citizens like myself to bring Nigeria out of its current doldrum. It's a rescue thing, and it will require all of us working together. However, it will depend on how the choice was made. There must be justice. If you want peace, there must be justice. Okay. And I'm assured by my party that they will give a level playing ground and they will play fair. If they play fair, then
that's how the party's primaries.
It becomes easy for people to.
All right, we must thank you. We must thank you so much. Sam Ohuabunwa is a frontline aspirant, just like you have said. I mean, since last year, we've been having interviews with you. You declared your aspiration, and, well, the time is coming close. The next 2 months, we'll be having the next presidential candidate of the party. We must thank you for joining us on the show. Well, that's how it's been for this edition of the Arise interview. Do join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye and thank you for watching. I'm Somna Sambo.